Well, hello, D&D friends, and welcome to HolyRollerz Descent into Avernus, episode 20. We are the D&D show about the Divine Fellowship, an alliance of priests called by their different gods to work together to rescue cities banished to the Nine Hells. HolyRollerz was a 9-person stream with 2 parties switching off every week, the Chainbreakers and the Sword Hunters, who will now come together for the first time in many weeks. So we will now introduce almost our entire cast tonight, starting with JT.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm JT. I'm first. I play Anduriel. He is a vampire cleric of Naylock. He used to not be, but he's back in black. Hit the sack. Don't you know I'm glad to be back? Okay, sorry. Anduriel, good to be.
And I'm Ryan. I should have gone first. I'm Lachlan. I play Lachlan Dulé, Bard Paladin of Sindel, who's the goddess of love, beauty, and truth.
I'm Jeff. I play Gizik the Pirate King, also a witch cleric with a flair for dramatic fashion now, I guess.
Pirate King. I didn't know that.
I serve Sigrun, the wonderful, horrible, powerful goddess.
And I am Tommy. I play Odelia Almaran. I am a halfling cleric of Moiris, the water goddess, and also a wee bit barbarian.
Hey everyone, I'm John. I play Thora Mikitas, druid of Finhifara, the goddess of elemental earth, who has recently been upgraded to semi-cyborg.
I was going to say bionic, but yeah, you are semi-cyborg.
And hey guys, I'm Ben. I play Morokhan. He's the cleric monk of Hamina. He's big, he's dragonborn, he's golden, and he's very strong and very hot.
Okay. We would like to excuse our Australian party tonight. They are indisposed and doing school, and they're finishing up their last bit of their term. So we wish them well and wish them success on their school projects and on their tests that they might be taking. And cross our fingers for them. I am Sage of Sorcery, also known as Matt, your humble ginger dungeon master for the evening. Our official commentator is Poinketh, whose reviews we love and look forward to. And you can find Poinketh's reviews on Reddit, reddit.com /HolyRollerz D&D, not the ampersand, the D with an ND. Hello, Poinketh. We missed your last review. I imagine with everything that happened, you had quite a bit to say. So I'm sure we'll be seeing that anytime where you can combine the two. We're looking forward to it. So
we're still dabbing for Poink, right?
Yeah.
Yes, dab for Poink.
Bam.
Yes, very nice. Ryan, I just saw your head.
Jeffrey, did you dab? I didn't see Jeffrey dab, guys.
Jeffrey, did you not dab?
Yeah.
It's for Poink.
It's for Poink, Jeff.
Maybe just with your
Everybody
fingers.
loves Poinketh.
Nope, sorry, it's still a dab.
Oh no. Poor Jeffrey. He can't be convinced, but that's okay. That won't come back to haunt him during the dice rolls. Anyway, okay, so now why don't we jump into a very brief recap. Last time on HolyRollerz, the Hallowed Council saw glimmers of hope while trapped in the forge of the Archdevil Bel, weaponer of Avernus. Lachlan received a visitation from Saint Malkatia, demigoddess of dangerous liaisons, who offered him a boon to reward him for taking dangerous risks. Some might say stupid risks, but we got into that last episode. She could either free him from his prison or restore his equipment and unlock Bel's chest containing the keys to opening the solar incendiators, the dread artifacts that are keeping cities trapped in Avernus. Lachlan chose to take a chance and remain imprisoned but equipped for action. Meanwhile, Thora became the bionic druid when the fire giant smith Dringaurmer attached 2 hellfire iron limbs to his very soul, smashing his natural right arm and leg into pulp. In order to prevent his entire body from becoming an iron golem, Thora used flattery and guile to get the fire giant talking about his craft long enough that he was forced to wait to complete his work on the druid. Meanwhile, Odelia offered up a special sea chanty prayer to Moiris. And in return, she watched the priests of Naylock and Duriel enter the afterlife through a bowl of scrying water. And she watched him make the difficult decision to either move on to his eternal reward or return to unlife as a vampire. Although Odelia begged and pleaded through her scrying vision for him not to give in to the darkness, Anduriel felt that his work on the prime material plane was unfinished, and he worried for his allies. He took Naylock's offer and was restored to his vampiric form. In order to return to his allies, Anduriel was also granted access to the Kocha Bower for the space of 1 mortal hour, the actual coach of the death god, Naylock himself. And so we will return to Anduriel, where we fairly well left off. Anduriel, you gaze up at the Dullahan, who's the headless coachman on top of the death coach. And he gestures with his carriage whip towards the doors of the carriage, and the door opens of its own accord.
I would like to run a real quick check to see what I know about this coach, if that's cool. That's copacetic.
Please make a religion check.
Ooh, I should know a little bit. 15, 16, 19, 20, 22.
Okay, so this is kind of a fundamental piece of your religion, so it makes sense that it wouldn't be too difficult to check. What you know about this coach is that the Kocha Bower is actually a personification of death itself. It is as though a piece of death were made into a coach and used to travel around. You might also consider this a piece of Naylock's astral realm, and therefore wherever the coach goes, it's like a piece of his astral realm goes with it. So it's connected to the pit of darkness. You also know that the carriage is insubstantial when it's moving and has phasing properties, so it can move through solid objects. Finally, you are aware that proximity to the coach is bad for the living. Those who stick around or come near the coach are bound to suffer necrotic damage. And once more, once the Kocha Bower has gone out, it cannot return to the pit of darkness unless a soul has gone with it. And so,
Oh dear.
it remains to be seen what soul that will be.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Moralcon, you hero, you're so brave. That's not. I'm feeling like the coach might be bringing back Australians tonight, but sorry, Blanket. Sorry, I know. That could be it could be anybody. Really could.
Anybody want to volunteer? Just don't be on screen right now.
Anybody?
Okay, we got 2.
Real easy selection.
I kid.
I don't know that that's quite fair.
We love our Aussies. I'm kidding.
All 3 of them are our commentators, Aussie too. Okay.
Yes.
So Anduriel, there the coach sits before you with the door open, and the Dullahan points towards the entrance and says, "Enter." And his voice kind of echoes in his chest. I mean, there's no head, and it looks like there's space in there, so.
Okay, that's why we're here. I'm getting in. He gets in.
Okay, Anduriel, you get into the coach, and the amazing thing about this is the carriage itself seems to be made of dark glazed cherry wood with silver inlays at the angles and edges of the carriage. And you get a brief look at the silver inlays, and you can see that there are all kinds of symbols of death that are carved in to the silver inlay, as almost as though it were flowing like water, but with symbols all along the way, and somewhat mesmerizing to look at. And the carriage itself, as you step inside, is made interior of indigo velvet cushions. The wall, the back is cushioned, the side of the door is cushioned, the seat is cushioned, and then there's a black carpet across the bottom with silver embroidery across it with Naylock's symbols on it. So you have the feeling as you step into this carriage that you have entered a temple to Naylock. You feel more powerful inside the carriage itself. And that is when something interesting happens. You step inside and the door closes of its own accord. And the interior lying across from you, seated, or I was going to say, the interior also seems to be an extra dimensional space. It is much larger on the inside than the outside of the carriage indicates. Like you see that the carriage seems like it could easily hold 10 people if it needed to. And there, you have the suspicion that perhaps it could hold even more if it needed to. So you wonder about that. But then you look across from you at the other seated cushion, and lying down across on those cushions, sideways with her legs up, is a voluptuous woman with coffee brown skin and a full lock or mane of chestnut brown hair pulled back into a top knot. She is dressed in an assortment of veils wrapped across her body and concealing most of her face, while leaving very little to the imagination about the rest of her. Her eyes are filled with literal dancing red flames, and she veritably purrs as she speaks to you. And she says, "Well, my lovely boy, you're a vampire, and I'm a goddess. Which of the two of us do you suppose is the more deadly to embrace?"
uh, in my experience, probably you, actually. I've not had much luck with goddesses. You might know.
She looks at you and she smiles with perfectly white teeth that just seem to glimmer a little bit as they catch the torchlight coming from outside the carriage. And she says, "You sweet boy, flattery will get you everywhere." And then she looks at you and you feel an involuntary shudder go through your entire body. And you realize that just being in her presence is very similar to being in Saint Delia Adira's presence, when you couldn't help but just fall in love with her a little bit. But it's a different sensation that is imparted when you look at this woman. You look at this demigoddess, whoever she might be, and as you do so, you have the desire to do like risky, foolish, and crazy things. Like it pops into your head, hey, maybe if I go knock Naylock off his throne, then she'll date me. And like all of these crazy ideas, jumping off cliffs,
going to Costco without a mask.
Exactly. I mean, just all kinds of crazy goes through. Yeah, I know. Whoa. All kinds of crazy goes through your head. And you're able to suppress it, but you realize that just being near her is doing this to you. And she smiles at you, and you get the impression that she knows that she's doing this to you, and she's enjoying it. And she waits for a moment and watches you while you kind of grapple with your thoughts. And she says, "I come at the behest of my lady, Sindel. Sometimes death and love are so closely related. Wouldn't you like to be closely relating to me, my lovely boy?"
I've got quite a lot to do, actually. As I'm
Take
sure
an
you
endurance
do.
check.
Okay. She interrupts you as you say, "I've got quite a lot to do," and stammers. She says, "To wit, I am here to guide you, so to speak. You see, right now, your divine fellowship is poised to accomplish great works on behalf of your world and possibly other worlds. But you'll need to gather your forces. Morokhan's marriage ceremony is going to have to be cut a wee bit short. But his new bride won't mind as long as she gets a ride. You'll then need to move quickly to free everyone else before Bale comes back from his meeting with the Archduchess of Avernus. I suggest you start with Lachlan and make your way into the bowels of the forge, or maybe you should start with the druid, who's all the way at the bottom. I mean, either one of those choices would be just delicious."
Real quickly here, you mean to tell me that myself and my compatriots have been, I don't know, we've been battling Mad Maggie, we've been getting beat up, tortured, and Morokhan's found the time to get married?
Well, yes, he has. And may I say, It has been a glorious wedding ceremony so far.
Oh, good grief. Well, I suppose I can't do this alone. So let's go get Morocon and Gizik and the others. Crash that wedding, and I need some backup.
Trust
Yes.
me when I tell you, you really, really, really do.
See, I believe you.
Okay. And she says, well, this is the Kocha I mean, it's quaint if you like the traditional style. Myself, I prefer a little bit more gold and open air. Let the breeze flow freely over your flesh. You know what I mean?
You're welcome to ride outside, I guess.
Oh, no. I can't do that. You see, if I don't stay in the carriage when you arrive in Bell's Forge, he will detect my divine presence. The coach will allow you to slip in, well, virtually undetected. I imagine you're going to make quite a ruckus when everyone sees you riding straight through the walls. But they won't have unlimited time to react, and it won't alert Bell immediately. I imagine he's going to be somewhat enraged when he sees the hole in his mystical defenses. And think about that. You'll have enraged an archdevil. Isn't that absolutely scrumptious?
For some reason, at this moment, I agree.
Okay. All right, Precious. Where are we going? I mean, I recommend picking up Lachlan or picking up the druid.
Well,
Anduriel, before you answer, I would like you to make a religion check. And being that you don't worship Sindel, the DC is going to be much higher. You are going to need at least a 25.
It's an 18 on the dice. I am trained with 18, 19, 26.
Okay.
26.
All righty. Well, congratulations. And Duriel, given how you are feeling and given her appearance and given the way that she is speaking, you are reasonably sure that you are in the presence of Saint Malkatia, the demigoddess of dangerous liaisons. And you are also reasonably sure that if she wants you to go for Lachlan first, or she wants you to go for Thora first, that either one of those options are probably the two more dangerous of the options. In which case, it would possibly be safer to pick up your compatriots and then head straight to Odelia, who is in the center, not on either end.
Oh, okay. So that's good information. I think we should go to a wedding, don't you? Let's go see our old friend the dragon, see Morocon. See if we can't liven up the festivities. I know you and I could make quite an entrance.
All right. Well, as I said, I have to remain inside the carriage or my divine presence becomes detectable. So pick up your friends and I suggest that you find out what it is they've learned, because you see they have learned so much, as have you learned so much. And you'll want to share that information as you plan out your next few steps. You see, there are so many delicious choices that lie in front of you. Personally, I'm hoping you take the... And then she stops and her mouth goes, and she's like, she looks completely irritated for a second. And then she folds her arms crossly and sits up as though she wanted to tell you something really crazy, but she can't do it. Like there's only so much that she's allowed to tell you. Anyway, she says, well, instruct the driver where we're headed.
You wouldn't happen to know where this wedding's taking place, would you?
Okay. The whip cracks and you hear a "yeah!" And then there is a sound like thunder as the four horses leading this carriage take off, and the carriage itself lurches, and all of reality out of the window of the carriage begins to fade, kind of like the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory ride when you go on that boat in the first movie, and it's like there's like zebras and rainbows. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy on the walls. And everything just kind of fades, almost as though reality were a painting where the colors have run, and you go thundering across. You can hear the hoofbeats of the horses strike like thunder, even though there's nothing for them to run on. They're running across the air, as is the carriage. And you are in that carriage for a little while. Now we will switch over. Morokhan and Gizik and Sister Faudever and Aelin and also Lavender are all engaged in pitched battle against these Fey forces, while Morokhan's new bride, the Siren Madrigal, is in the corner with her sister, clapping and pointing as you do all kinds of things. Every time Morokhan punches someone, she goes, "Oh, hit him harder, sweetheart. Harder. Clock him upside the head." And her sister, the Kelpie, a Grundy, is in the background just grunting, going, "Arr, arr, arr." And you get the feeling that she really would like to join in the fight, but she doesn't seem to have leave to do so. And the battle has been going underway. We've been doing fairly well, but then something really, really disturbing happens as we go through. The ceremony was disrupted by the fight, but the fight is disrupted when a thundering carriage comes flying out of the air and crashes through into the sanctuary area, and people go diving left and right and every which way. So everybody needs to make everyone needs to make either an acrobatics or an athletics check, which would be Gizik and Morokhan and Sister Faudever.
I don't know.
Dude, your
about you
carriage.
guys, I don't know about you guys, but I've been to this wedding.
All right, so 22 athletics.
All right, that's more than enough. Morokhan?
It's a good thing I'm trained in athletics, and that was a really crappy roll from this dice. So that's a 19.
Okay. Unfortunately, Morokhan, you and Sister Faudever fell short of the 20 that you needed. So we're in the middle of the fight, and here's what happens. Lavender and Aelin are moving across the battlefield, and they get clocked by one of the horses coming through. As the carriage lands down in this sanctuary area, Aelin goes to push Lavender out of the way, and Aelin actually gets knocked aside by the horse into Lavender, and they both fall down unconscious. The Fae run screaming in both ways, and Sister Faudever goes, no, and she backs up, and she backs up into Morokhan, and both Morokhan and Sister Faudever get slammed for about 15 points of damage, impact damage.
Oof.
And they
Okay.
get knocked prone. However, on the plus side, the gentleman that Madrigal wished for you to kill gets trampled completely by the carriage underfoot. Okay.
Sorry, JT, your character
that was me.
has been squished.
No.
Yeah.
That was NPC. What was the NPC's name, Ryan? You're muted, Ryan. You're muted, which on a normal day might be not a bad thing, but we'd like to hear what you're saying. Which, Ryan, now you have to speak.
Still can't hear you.
Yeah. Maybe you can sign it. Can you sign it?
Does anyone hear it?
1 word, 2 words?
Okay, I feel like that wasn't really a sign, and I feel like no one here knows it well.
Avernus.
Adranus, thank you. Okay, so
poor
Adranus goes one way and sees Aelin, and goes the other way and sees Sister Faudever and Morokhan, and then he tries to run, and he just gets plastered and trampled under the. Oh, there we go. Now we hear you.
Headset issues.
Yeah, well, yeah, we hear you. But now it's too late because JT told us what we needed to know. So now you're superfluous to the sound.
But superfluous, you can't have superfluous without super.
Very true. Don't pay any attention to me. I'm saucy tonight. Okay, so he gets trampled, and then something else pretty creepy happens. As you and Sister Faudever stand up, and Gizik, who managed to jump out of the way and get clear, you look down and see Avernus's form withering under the carriage. He's desiccating, and his body is shriveling up until you get a little bit closer, and then Avernus's bones, and then he is dust. And this happens all within the space of just a couple of rounds, and a round in 4E is 6 seconds. So within a matter of less than a half a minute, Avernus has been reduced to dust, and that dust blows away with the gust of the wind. Silence.
So this is like the Last
falls
Crusade,
over.
like he chose poorly.
He
type of
chose.
situation.
Well, if you mean he chose to get trampled by, like, he chose the wrong place to be, he chose poorly. I don't think he should have come to the wedding. So, Avernus
Dude, and
is
Duriel, your carriage driver is better than Waze. Like, that was pretty spectacular.
and Avernus had that young fae girl who managed to get clear, and she sees Avernus, and her eyes go wide, and she bursts into tears, and she goes, "Oh, my only love, I'll never love again." Like, just burst into this hysterical weeping. And then in the corner, Madrigal goes, "Oh." And just hysterical laughter. And all the other fae kind of stop what they're doing, and they look at her, and they take their cue from her, and everybody else is hysterically laughing now at what happened with Avernus. And then one by one, the fae, they begin to shimmer and sparkle, and they step through the Feywild, through the Fey crossing, and they're out. They're just one by one until only Madrigal is left, and the weeping woman looking like there. And Duriel, are you just going to stay inside the carriage, or what's
Oh
your
no,
plan?
he's gonna throw that door open.
Please hit the weeping woman.
He's
Okay.
gonna toss the door open. Well, hello, everyone.
Okay.
It's a bit dusty here. What have I
Does
missed?
he look different?
You've ruined everything.
Okay.
We needed him. What are we gonna do now?
Him who? Hello, Olga. Good to see you too.
Okay.
Sure, but what do we do now?
Ah, I'm glad you asked.
We still have this other lady. Let's use her.
What are you talking
Okay.
about? We didn't leave.
Gizik and Morocon, please make perception checks.
Oh boy. Okay.
30.
16.
All right. You only needed a 15. Gizik,
Oh, good.
Gizik, you take one look at Anduriel, and you are like, somebody done vamped him all over again.
Oh,
And Morocon, you take a look at him, and you come to the determination that he looks a lot like he used to look. And not only that, he is sporting this gorgeous new set of black armor. It is absolutely breathtaking to behold. And I mean, it looks like the kind of armor that dwarven smiths are jealous of and trying to figure out, like, where did you get that? And there you go, is another little picture.
nice.
Sporting the cloak and the shoulder pad, wispy cloak coming. I mean, he looks like the Prince of Darkness walking out in that armor in this carriage. And that is what you notice. And what do you say?
He's a half mask away from being the Phantom of the Opera, basically.
He might as well break into the chorus right now.
Well, Anduriel, I really appreciate your coming and helping us. What happened? Who, like, his fists have clenched. Who did this to you?
Did what? Hook me up with this sweet ride, dragon? That would be Naylock.
Well,
Yeah, the ride's sweet. I like the rims. It's got cool spinners on them. But
And
what's
we're all set for cup holders too.
well,
that's
It's the beverage in the cup that you have to watch out for.
well, we're happy
You're
to
not here,
see
Bard.
you. Yeah, we're happy to see you. We're glad you've come back to your senses. Your timing wasn't the best, though. Still,
What do you mean?
you just
Is he already
murdered our
married? Did I-
sacrifice.
Did I not break up the wedding?
Wait,
No,
why would you want
the
to
wedding
break
was-
up the wedding?
say that wedding was pretty much broken by the time that fight started. So thank you for making that fight end quicker. But why are you a vampire again?
Okay, before you can respond, Anduriel, Madrigal, in a beautiful seafoam wedding gown, comes over and drapes her arm across Moroccan and lifts her leg and wraps it around his tail ever so daintily. And she says, "Oh no, we're married. Legal and binding forever and ever and ever."
I'd like to make a perception check.
What are you looking
I'd like to see how Moroccan feels about this.
Okay, that's an insight check, not perception.
Sorry, insight check. My bad.
When I heard perception, I thought he was
14.
scoping the ring.
Yeah, I know. What's
Yeah.
he is like? If you like it, then you should have put like. Yeah.
That's a nice dress. Okay.
She must
That
be
is,
fairy. We've given her everything that she wants, and we didn't get the thing that we wanted.
It's an 18.
Oh.
Yet.
Okay, an 18. Moroccan, are you trying to hide how you feel as Madrigal comes over to drape herself across you?
Well, I'm surprised that she just was right there. But other than that, this is as much a business transaction as you have ever seen. This wedding was something to just let's progress through this and let's just get this done. We've got other things that need to happen, and this is a business transaction to Moroccan.
Okay. So you're not glowing with joyousness. Got it.
So Moroccan, you're saying you're kind of like a hooker.
Oh my gosh. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Good
And
night, ladies and gentlemen.
he was not actually paid.
Pause.
That'll take care of
He
consider
said,
this.
and we're good for the evening. There's not.
And we're out.
Although, I mean, you did. Never mind. Anyway,
Okay. So Ogre's mad at me for some reason.
No, I'm not. I'm
And-
not mad. I'm
and
just.
Dragon is
Your timing.
I don't understand what you're saying, but anyways, here's what we need to do. You all need to get in this sweet ride with me right now. We need to go save our friends. They've got the halfling, they've got the bard, and the other one, you know, the bugs. They have him too. We must go save them. And we have time is of the essence. We haven't much time.
Okay, we could do that, but we'll probably be stuck
We
here.
could do that. Right. What are we going to do about,
okay.
having to break the chains? We have a place where we need to go to. But
Okay.
what happened to you
You
guys?
should
So-
probably tell me what you're talking about.
So the genie comes out from the corner, and he says, "Oh no, I would say our bargain is more than fulfilled." And he pulls out a silver or some kind of silvery-looking flask, and he uncorks the top of this flask and screws it off. And he says, "I've got everything that you promised to deliver and more." And he begins to chant in a low rumbling voice that sounds a little bit like the mystics from what do you call it?
Dark Crystal?
Dark Crystal. Thank you, Benjamin. So he's like, oh, yeah, thank you, very nice bass, Benjamin. And as he does this low rumbling chant, the blood that has been shed by the fey creatures that you have been fighting, for instance, the blood that was shed by Gizik's nasty claw attacks, begins to drip upwards off of the floor, like it were dripping like down, but it drips upward. And it drips up and it forms this little red cloud. And the red cloud begins to, slowly swirl down into this silver flask that he has. and all this blood begins to be picked up off the floor. Even some of the blood that was left under the carriage is picked up, and and then he pops the cork on it, and everything is gathered, and he says, well, I'd say I have enough Fey blood here with all the wounds you inflicted on these Fey to meet my needs, which means I can get out of this wretched, wretched, wretched plane of existence and move on. And so the letter of our bargain is fulfilled, which I suppose means that I owe you something. And so here. And he pulls a gold ring, just a simple golden band off of his finger. And he takes it and he flips it to Morokhan. And he says, now, I would use this wisely. You hold in your hand a ring of 3 wishes. Except there's only one left.
Oh, come on.
However, that should be boo. Yeah, somebody's a wish mooch. That's not very. That's not. And he looks at you and he says,
"You are."
He says, "Now I would wish carefully. It could get you to Tiamat, which is what I originally offered to do for you. It could bring you right to her. I mean, a wish is awfully powerful if you think about it. Of course, it could accomplish any number of other things too. I mean, its power is not unlimited, but I think you'll find it's more than a sufficient payment for our bargain. Word your wish carefully. All you have to do is put the ring on your finger, any one of you, and state what you wish to happen using the word wish. And from there, it's all about wisdom, but choose carefully, because many an adventurer such as yourselves has met an untimely death due to poor wording." And he says, "Thank you. This has been most agreeable. Have a fortuitous day." And then he slowly dissolves into smoke, into a gaseous form, and he drifts off into the sky. And that
Suddenly
is
not feeling as great about this bargain as I did before. Now we've got a wish, which is great, but
You can do anything with a wish.
right, and that wish could do anything to us, apparently. So,
Well, could we just wish for everything in Avernus to go back to where it belongs?
Well, you could try that, but there are limits to the powers of a wish spell. Even a 9th level wish spell has limits.
And
I
who
will
determines
say,
what
though-
belongs where?
Yeah, I also will say we are in hell. Isn't that where most lawyers go?
We could just wish for all of the inhabitants of Avernus to go to Aenia.
Well, like I said, there are
uh,
limits to the power of wish magic, Gizik, and you would know that. I mean, there's only so much that it can do. But wishes do have the power to rewrite reality. So to the extent that the magic is able to, you could change something, or you could acquire something, or you could affect something, but depending on the power or the magic of the thing that you're trying to change will depend on the limitation.
does that ring fit on my finger?
If you try to put it on your finger, it will magically adjust itself to the right size.
Perfect, because I don't want to lose it. So it's on my
hey.
finger now.
All right, Morokhan, you put the ring on your finger, and Madrigal puts her dainty blue hand over your mouth. And she says, "Now, beloved, before you do something ever so reckless, perhaps it's not a good idea to have it on you lest you wish yourself carelessly. You see, the word wish has become part of the everyday vernacular of your species, shall we say, and you don't have the experience. But if you'd like, I can hold on to it for you. I promise not to use it. Wife's honor."
Well, we certainly don't want to wish for a waffle or anything silly like that, but I wouldn't give it to her either.
No,
I wouldn't put it on.
I'm gonna. I'll talk to. I'll pull it off my finger. That's very
wise choice.
But it's probably. I would think that Avernus here is not the greatest place in the world for a lady such as yourself. So once I am out of Avernus, we will discuss some more about what the future may hold for us. Does that sound satisfactory?
But darling, look, a coach has come to take us on our honeymoon. You're not trying to tell me.
Morocon, may I have a word? Actually, one side. You, madam, are lovely. I'm sorry you have a moron, idiot genie that only gave you one wish, but time is of the essence. I need to speak with your dragon. Is that okay?
Are you talking to Madrigal?
Yeah.
And she says, oh, of course, a word is fine. I'll just go take out the trash. And then she walks over to Adronis's weeping paramour, and she says, stop weeping, you little chit. And she just goes off onto this nasty tirade while you're chatting with Morocon.
Actually, Morocon, I quite like her. I'm hesitant to even suggest what I'm about to suggest, but I feel like I should. A point about this coach that your beloved seems quite eager to ride within. We have this for an hour. My dad has to take it back after an hour, whatever, you know.
Dad said I have to put gas in it and get it back in an hour.
Here's the condition.
My rentals.
This carriage cannot return to the pit of darkness empty. It must have someone inside of it. So say your beloved were to come with us because she wants to be by your side. We'd need someone to take it back to the pit of darkness for us. Perhaps you could persuade said beloved.
Oh, he dark.
I'm a vampire.
Yeah, we're not done with this conversation.
Okay, just then, Sister Faudever comes dragging Aelin and Lavender over, which she is more than strong enough to you, because if you remember, Sister Faudever is she's not an unhefty
She's
gal.
a tank.
With her lovely 20 strength, 19, she comes dragging Aelin and Lavender over, and she says, well, they're out cold. I've tried to rouse them, but I'm afraid they've suffered minor concussions. They'll be fine, but we've got to find, or we have to wait. Oh, Anduria, you're looking so sickly. And she comes forward to inspect you.
Sister Faudever, give us a hug.
Okay. She makes a 25. She makes a 25 on her heal check as she inspects you. And she says, oh, Anduriel. Oh, and she says, no, don't touch me. Oh, she looks at you and she says, are you ill? Have you contracted some kind of magical disease? Your veins are looking so weak.
Like I've said, he's come back to his senses. Now, does the undead technically count as a man? For questions of you being able to touch him, that is.
Mr. Gizik, what are you talking about?
He's a vampire again.
How many times must
Smartest
we go
thing
over
he's
this,
done.
Mr. Gizik? He's been in the sun. You've seen him in the sun. Granted, he looks sickly. You might have the plague. I'm not sure what you have, but this vampire nonsense just isn't funny anymore.
Actually, sister, I died, and then now I'm back, but I am a vampire again.
Well, that sounds like a story.
Glad
to have you
one
back.
For the carriage. We must be on our way. We've got limited time. Everybody, into the carriage. Morocon.
I'm not getting in that.
Okay, then stay. I don't care. We have to go.
Let's do that. I am getting in the carriage. We'll see
Here's
if she
the deal.
stays.
Sister Faudever, I'm sorry. You were not here for why we're getting in the carriage, right? Right. Our friends, the bard, the halfling, the bugs, they are all in very, very very real danger. They're getting tortured by Bell as we speak. We must go save them, and this is the way that we're going to do it.
And you left them?
I was dead.
Yes, we will discuss this further.
What kind of
Will you
excuse is
take
that?
Aelin and Lavender?
I know. All right, Sister Fadaver says,
Will you
well,
take Aelin and Lavender and load them in the cart, please? Stick them in
Okay.
the trunk. I don't care, but load them in. Let's go.
all right, Sister Fadaver rolls a very high religion check, and she knows exactly who Baal is. She says, Baal, the archdevil Baal, you left the other half of the hallowed council with an archdevil.
Not all of us could go to wedding parties and
Apparently, we're going to get them now.
get
so-
stupid moron genies to give us wishes, Sister Fodivere. Some of us actually had to go and get tortured and see someone who I think Gizik would actually quite like, Mad Maggie. They'd probably get along quite well.
I was against this wedding from the start. I knew this was sinful. They don't even love each other. Do you know what he's done while you were away?
I can only imagine. Perhaps we should discuss it in the carriage.
Okay.
Magical,
she's-
if you would like to join me, we're going.
Oh, lovely. She comes over and claps her hand and she says, this is the best honeymoon anyone in the Feywild has ever heard of. Wait until I get to tell my sisters I rode in the coach of Bower for my honeymoon. Do the rest of them really have to come? I mean,
Sadly,
look,
we're going to have to make a stop before we resume the rest of the festivities. But
Everyone in? I'll explain it on the way.
yes, he'll explain on the way.
Okay. Do we
If you
have
would care
bring
to
the
join us, that would be great.
Do we have
Otherwise,
to
I
bring
will
the
meet you.
unconscious ones? They're already sleeping. Can't we just leave them here?
Well, think of it this way: they're not going to be a bother.
Point taken. All right. So Madrigal goes and stands in front of the carriage, and then she goes, "Oh, it's giving off the most ghastly necrotic energy." Enduriel, you have a command word that you have to use if you want more people to get into the carriage.
Oh, yes.
So,
Sorry. Rub-a-dub-dub, one more for the tub. Just kidding. He walks over. Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. Where's my mind at? Carriage, there's room for one more.
okay, Anduriel says there's room for one more, and the doors to the carriage open, and the aura of undeath, or the necrotic aura, subsides briefly, and you're all able to pile up into the carriage. Anduriel, Saint Malkatia is gone, wherever, or she's not visible, or she doesn't seem to be there. So Sister Fadaver picks up Aelin and starts pulling her, and she says, would someone get her legs or her tail? I'm not sure what's more comfortable to carry her with.
When did this one get wings?
Yeah, that's a question I would like some answers to as well.
Didn't she
Perhaps
always
her,
have them?
Perhaps her daddy could help explain all of this too.
I don't
That's
know. He
another story
can't
from
come.
another
I
time.
quite like them. Let's go.
Okay.
Right.
So you drag unconscious Aelin and Lavender and into the carriage, and the carriage door shuts on its own, and it goes insubstantial again and gains the phasing property. So, Anduriel, there it sits. There you go. Very nice, John. Thank you for the Doulahan impression. The headless John. That's very nice.
There we go.
That's perfect. Yeah.
All
We
right.
love it.
Let's go. We need to go to the center of Baal's fortress property. I don't know where the halfling is.
Madrigal looks at you and she says, "Forge, simpleton. Baal's forge."
It's not quite that simple, is it? And then he looks up at the driver. Baal's forge, please.
Okay. She looks at you and she stretches, Moralcon, she stretches out her leg like right across you. barely covering up all her business with that dress, and just kind of lies halfway across you. And Duriel Madrigal looks at you and she says, "This carriage is wasted on you." And Sister Faudever says, "What do you mean, the middle of the forge? How are we going to the middle of this forge?"
Well, there are some specifics I don't quite know. I just know that this carriage will take us where we need to go. And that's where the halfling is. So we need to go save her.
All right, so you hear the crack of the whip and thunder again as the terrible, terrible Coach Bauer goes speeding across through the sky again, heading towards your destination. Now you have quite a bit of time, or well, not quite a bit of time, but you do have a little bit of time before you arrive. Is there anything anybody wants to do to prepare, or anything anybody wants to tell anybody before we get there? Because if not, Sister Faudever is going to fill the silence, I promise.
Does this count as a short rest, or?
Yes.
Okay. How about a long rest? Can I get a long rest by chance?
In a less than an hour carriage ride?
It's a carriage of death. Maybe you can...
Hey,
You could go for the very long rest.
Power name. Been there, done that. Anduriel is going to...
So, Anduriel.
Yeah.
I need to know what happened to you. Why are you a vampire again? Things were fine. Things were great. You were healthy. And now you're all pale and tragic all over again.
That's actually not the most important thing we have to discuss. As a matter of fact, here's the deal. We found a way to destroy the solar incinerators. You? What have you found?
We were going to bargain with Tiamat to go and break the chains for us.
What chains?
As instructed by Hamina, the chains that hold the cities and drag them down into the river Styx.
Oh, right.
Right, our whole purpose for splitting.
It's been a while.
We did.
So there's a sword that if we can get this sword, we'll be able to break the solar incinerators. What do we need to do? The Sword of Zerial. Have you heard of it before?
Have I heard of it?
I don't know, Moralcon.
Do I need to make a check? Senior DM.
You actually have heard of it, primarily because the Vistani told you to seek it out.
It's been in the past dozen or so episodes, so yeah, I know.
You know about the sword. The sword has the power to break the solar incendiators, but you did not know where it was, and it sounds like Anduriel knows. Or at least he says he does. But can you really trust a vampire?
So you know where this sword is, and we need that to break the incendiators to get these things out, to get these cities back out of here. Okay. How far away is that?
Well,
in the forge. Is that why we're going there, or with the rest of the group?
So we're going to the forge because, as I was saying, we met up with a denizen of this plane called Mad Maggie, sort of a brutish creature. I think the ogre would quite like her. You probably find her quite fetching. At any rate, the bard saw fit to steal from her quite a very important piece of her power, to which she was not quite happy about. And so as we were trying to retrieve the sword from a dead vampire in a tree of metal, we were attacked, set upon by her forces and those of Baal, and we were taken back to his forge, to which we have been being tortured endlessly. I assume they've been being tortured. I certainly was, to the point where there was no hope for us to get out, right? I was given the chance to Oh, yes. Small point of this story is we met Navario. So that was
Wait,
great.
what?
Yeah, him. The main bad guy.
Oh, is he still standing?
Very much. I tried to attack him and it did not go well. Like, at all. Like, bad. Anyways. So then my mother visited us and offered me the opportunity to help free my friends, our friends, but I had to sacrifice myself, which I did actually. And so Naylock gave me the opportunity to come back and help you, help them, help us all, but I had to be a vampire again. That's where the vampire thing comes in, Dragon. And so here we are. We need to go save our friends so that we can get that sword, destroy the insinuators, and then you can do your thing to break the chains, right?
So he's not happy that he's a vampire again, but
Well, that makes
your-
one of
your-
us.
Your adventures, I'll just take it in stride because lots of things have happened to us since you guys have been gone as well. So, all right, well, to the forge, I guess.
Sister Fadaver is continuing to inspect Lavender and Aelin and trying to checking their eyes, checking their pupils, adjusting them, readjusting them, and she looks up at you, and all you're discussing these dramatic, incredible things, and it's barely glancing her, and she looks back once she's got them situated, and she says, and Morocon thought it was a good idea to stop what we were doing and get married in the middle of all this. And Madrigal just blows her a kiss. And Sister Fadaver just makes the Marge Simpson noise.
Oh, hush, sister. The marriage is the best thing we could have done now.
I
Why
suppose
did you get
if
married?
you're willing to trade the sanctity of your vows for a little magical trinket.
The marriage not only, it's a good match. But as part of Marokon's dowry, we get we get an introduction to Tiamat, who can help us get out of here.
Mr. Gizik, a fish and a dragon can get married, but where do they build a home? And Madrigal says, did she just call me a fish? I know she didn't just call me a fish. And she looks at you, Morocon, and she says, you better shut her up, or this carriage is going to have one fewer passenger. And Sister Fadaver puts her hand on her greatsword, and she goes, oh, you bring it, Charlie Tuna. You bring it. And it's getting really ugly in the carriage. If one of you doesn't say something or try to calm this down, it's going to come to blows before you can even get to Bell's Forge.
Sadly, Madrigal, I have known the good sister here for a while now, and, well, trying to get her to shut up is much easier said than done. So
use the ring on
it
her.
Must be. It may come to that. Don't you worry. But right now, we're going to need her, I'm guessing, for where we're going.
And Duriel's going to turn to Madrigal and say, do you mind if I drink your blood?
Okay.
That should break the conversation.
That was
Wait,
actually.
are you a red cap again?
That
by
was
chance?
actually really clever, Anduriel. I'm going to let you make an intimidate check with greater advantage. So roll twice.
13 plus 13, 26. And the second one's only 14.
Okay. So you say, can I drink your blood? And you maybe lean closer. And do you extend your fang a little bit maybe? Or do you just look at her?
Well, he just kind of gives her a little kind of grin.
Okay. You grin at her and she looks at you and she says, I'm going to assume that was a jest, vampire. I'm going to assume that you don't have a death wish because I don't know if you remember the last time we tussled together, but you and your friends didn't have what it takes to take me down. Do you really think you can do it even with the nuns' help?
I'm not looking to take you down, of course. You're part of the team now, aren't you? You married the dragon, you saint, you. I simply need a drink. I am a vampire after all, and I'm not like the blood wasters you're used to, those stinking redcaps. I
Okay.
actually will use the blood.
She looks over at Morelcon, and Morelcon, she traces her finger down the side of your frills and your snout, and she goes, "Oh, dearest, it wouldn't make you jealous, would it?"
Driver, are we there yet?
I mean, you're not going to hold this against me later, are you?
Well, what against you? Are you... What against you?
Your friend needs a drink. Won't that empower him to some degree?
Well, before he made the blood pact, it didn't seem to affect too much of our endeavors. It didn't seem to affect too much. So,
all right, Madrigal looks back at you, Andrea, and she says, "I'm sorry, but my husband's jealous. He gets so jealous." And she pinches Morelcon's cheek, or at least tries to. And then she boops him on the snout. She says, I'm afraid I can't indulge you, vampire, although I must say I am intrigued."
Be that as it may, I appreciate your consideration. I will say this, dragon. During the course of our travels together, I always fed during battle. I just recently got turned into a vampire again. We are about to go into a battle, so if you want full Anduriel, I'm going to need a drink from someone.
All right, you say that, Anduriel, and Sister Fadavera looks at you and she says, "I don't think this is funny anymore. In fact, I didn't think it was funny when you started it."
Oh, good sister. You've been drinking the wrong Kool-Aid. This is all real.
Okay, just then you arrive at Bell's Forge.
Oh,
and you start heading down, and Madrigal leans out the right window and she says, "Oh, fun!" And she looks back at you and she says, "Oh," and just leans out the window. And Sister Fadavere leans out the other window and screams, "Stop it! Stop the coach! We're gonna crash!" Ah! And the carriage is insubstantial and goes straight through the wall. And you wind up right here, my friends, on this map right here. The carriage occupies a huge space, and it stops in squares 19, 20, and 22 of I, J, and K. Or excuse me, 19, 20, and 21.
That was this one? Okay, yeah.
Right there. So it's 3 squares down, and it is in squares I, J, and K. And if you need to, I had to write the squares across the bottom for myself. So if you need to take a minute to do that, that's fine. And
so which map is this?
This would be this one right here, Jeffrey.
All right. So what's the name you have for this one?
This
Bell's
is the Forge.
All right. Let me get that printed.
Okay. Odelia, you are sitting in your cage, and the lance has long since been taken away because you powered it up to the degree that it was able to. So the fire giant came and he took it away. And that's more or less what happened. And Lachlan, you actually watched the fire giant drop and deposit the lance in Bale's chest. However, the chest is still not locked. And so you watched it, but it is gone for now. Odelia, there is a violent sound like thunder, and you watch this cherry wood, silver inlaid coach come crashing through the ceiling without doing any damage and land in front of the forge that looks like a devil's mouth. And Odelia, it is right in front of your cage.
Do I recognize what it is?
Make a knowledge religion or just a religion check, and let's see if you can identify what it is. You're going to need a really high roll.
Ooh. Um, 23.
Okay, that is sufficient for you to identify that this very well could be the Coach of Bauer, the Death Coach. You do know that once the coach goes out, it cannot go back without a soul to return to the pit of darkness. And at first, you're like, "Oh, it's just a magical coach." But then you look at some of the silver symbols across the coach, and you look at the headless coachman, and you're like, this is the Death Coach. This came straight from Death's realm." And that's what happens. And Odelia, from the other end of the hallway, come running several of the Maragons, those guards that have the iron masks over their faces. And they come running and shouting towards the coach. And now, my friends, it would be initiative.
Hooray!
We don't get to try to smash and grab and just hurry and go rescue Thora after this?
Oh, nobody said you couldn't try to smash and grab. But we have to see what happens when it happens. And Thora,
Okay.
you need to roll into initiative as well.
Okay.
And so do you, Lachlan.
Okay.
29.
Okay, and Duriel got himself 29.
12.
Okay, so that's 3 bad rolls in a row. So this is going into dice jail now. So
Okay.
I rolled a natural 1.
Oh, okay.
So plus my initiative, it's a 9, but I rolled a natural 1. So
Unless you want to use your seership power and replace it with one of your 3
oh
dice.
my gosh, yes. Okay, so that's going to be.
Have you rolled
not
them for
great.
today?
Have I rolled them for today? No.
Okay, then you better roll those 3 if you want to replace it with one of them and see what you got.
I got a 19.
That's
Okay.
better. Okay. So I'll take the worst of the other. So my initiative is 12.
Okay.
I'm 7. Because I'm still stuck in the cage.
Okay. Miss Odelia, that's a 15 plus 8 is a 23. All right, the Maragons get a 23.
And
Okay.
are we still
I got-
cut off
I
from
got an
our
18.
cleric powers?
Are you what?
Are we still cut off from our cleric powers?
For the moment, you are cut off from your cleric powers. You do not have access to your holy symbol. But you got all your barbarian juices.
Oh, I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
I'm sure she's not happy about that. Okay. Alrighty.
18 here.
So
18.
So which cage is Odelia in? Do we know
Odelia
yet?
is in the cage. You can see Odelia through the iron cage, and she is right next to you to the left.
Okay.
So she's in C, D, and E. Okay, Anduriel, my friend, you are at the top of initiative. You act before anybody else. What would you like to do?
Okay. I'm going to attack the closest Maragon. Is that what is a Maragon?
Maragon? Well, they're all the way back at the other end, my friend, and you haven't
they're-
gotten out of the carriage yet.
Well, okay. He is going to. Well, I'm just going to get out of the carriage. Well, no. First, Anduriel. All right, everyone. First stop on our magical journey. Madrigal, would you please stay with these 2 in the coach? And he points to the unconscious ones.
Stay in the coach?
It's the perfect viewpoint to watch all that's going to happen.
Okay, Moralcon Madrigal leans over on you and she kisses your cheek and she goes, I don't have to stay in the coach, do I, honey?
Well, that depends. Do you want to get dirty and messy and help with the fight, or do you want to stay clean and pristine and wait in the coach and enjoy the show?
She boops you on your snout again and she goes, I want to get dirty. And then she goes to reach for the edge of the door of the coach.
Well, you heard her. She's going to help.
Moralcon, she really should stay with the coach.
Okay, well, she doesn't seem to be taking the hint or even slightly interested in it.
Well, the last time we saw her in a fight, didn't seem to go too badly for her. So
She is a nasty piece of work in a fight.
So I'm willing to take whatever help we can get at this point. If we can just get out of this.
Are you willing to?
So,
Are you willing to take the return trip to the pit of darkness yourself, dragon?
Do you say that out loud?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Just say, all right. That's your minor action, Enduriel. What would you like to do now?
Good grief, you idiot! He's gonna.
Are Aelin and Lavender leaving the coach, or are they still in there?
Aelin and Lavender are out for the count. They're unconscious and sporting concussions.
So they're holding the fort while we smash and grab.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try and. All right, do whatever you want, people. The priority is getting the halfling and then moving on. So he's gonna get out of the carriage and try to get Odelia out.
Okay. Enduriel, you step out of the carriage. Tell me where you're going to move to. You may use 20, either 20 I or 20K as your initial square. Tell me where you want to end up. You got plenty of movement.
20 I.
Okay.
Is where I'll get out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can move to 24F. That's the door to her cage, right?
Yep.
And that's where I'll end up for my move action.
Okay. Anduriel, make a perception check. Let's see how much you see on the cage as you get out.
Ooh, that wasn't great. That was a 10. Oh, but I'm trained, so 22.
Okay, Anduriel, you step out and come running over to Odelia's cage. And she actually looks okay, surprisingly enough. She looks like she's been rather well taken care of. There are some blood stains at the bottom of her cage, but you don't see any kind of opening whatsoever into the cage itself. It seems to be constructed of solid iron. Even what looks to be like the door doesn't even look like it has a latch. And Odelia is frowning at you.
Well, good to see you too, halfling.
Get me out of here!
Well, I didn't put you in here. I'm trying to get you out. No need for the crusties.
I'm not angry at you, just get me out!
Your introduction is quite accurate. You are a little angry.
All right.
Is that a poke about my size? Just get me out!
Okay. Okay, how do I get you out of here?
I don't know. If I knew how to get out, I'd be out by now.
But you've been in the cage. You must have some sort of idea of how people are put in and removed.
No, I don't.
Oh dear. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to get her out.
DM, have I noticed anything over all the days that I've been here?
You have not. The way that the cage was opened to admit people for you to fight was by reshaping the metal briefly with magic. The fire giant was the one who did it, or it was Bale. And so you don't know of any way to open this cage, and you've certainly tried bashing it before and to no avail. However, Anduriel, make an insight check because you do have the means at your disposal.
Oh, well, son of a gun. Okay. That's not very 12, 17. And then that's 18.
Okay. Anduriel, you think that you might be able to use your armor to get in and out of the cage. Another option you have, when the coach is moving, it is insubstantial and has the phasing property.
Oh. Oh.
Ooh.
Well, how about that? So I have my standard action here.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna turn to the driver of the coach. Driver, drive here. And he's gonna point to the cage.
Okay. All right. On his turn, the driver will act.
Halfling, when the coach comes over, just get in. Don't worry about questions and nonsense that you like to worry about. Just get in.
I'm not
Okay.
one for questions. I'll just get in.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. The Maragons are, and there are 3 of them. There is one in square 6F, and there is another in square 6H. And there is one that is going to double move to get to you. And he's going to take the run action and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so there's one in 14G. And Anduriel, the 2 that are in square 6F and 6H pick up crossbows and they fire at you. What is your AC, my friend? Your new AC. JT, you're muted, my friend.
Sorry, it's 24.
Okay, 24 is your new AC. So they actually need 11s to hit you. So here we go. And that is a 6 and a 14. So that is 1 hit and 1 miss. And Uriel, do you by any chance have any kind of fire resistance?
I resist radiant.
And Uriel, you take 9 points of bolt damage from their flaming crossbow bolts, and you take 2 points of fire damage, so 11 total, as a flaming crossbow bolt strikes you in the shoulder. The other one bounces off of your armor harmlessly, like dink. Very good. And that is the Maragon's turn. Thora, it is your turn. Thora, you hear a ruckus coming from the chamber above you. And you're not exactly sure what it is. You heard 2 of the Maragons shout, and then you heard a sound like thunder crashing in the middle. But unfortunately, you are still stuck on all 4s in your location. And now, Mr. Lachlan, you don't hear anything. Unfortunately, you are still stuck in a flaming circle right now, stuck where you are. And Mr. Gizik, it's your turn, my friend. Same points of entry or exit.
I could go over and attack the hop out of this. So the carriage has not moved yet. I can hop out and go over and attack the one that's in 14G, right?
Yes, you got plenty of movement.
I'll go over
to
to 15G.
Okay.
Try to bewitch him with a minor. Let's see. So that'll be a 19, I think.
That, unfortunately, is not high enough to get his will.
Okay. In that case, I will just try and take a few bites out of him.
Okay.
Hag's Hunger, which is versus AC. One of my dice is a natural 1. And I have a 31 with the other.
Okay, that's a hit and a miss then.
Okay. So then 18 damage.
Okay. Ooh, he does not like that. All right. So Gizik comes loping out of the carriage, and the Maragon stops Gizik as he comes running over with his polearm, because this big old ogre comes charging out of the carriage, and he's like, and you come over and do a hefty clawed amount of damage to him. And that would be Mr. Gizik. And now it is Morocon and Madrigal's turn. Morocon, what's she going to do?
Okay. So Gizik is engaged with the one in 14G, right?
Yes, he is.
Where is the other one?
The other 2 are on line 6. They are in squares F and H. They are all the way at the other end from where y'all are.
Okay, so I don't see them, but I do see the one.
Get out of the carriage, you can see them. If you want to sit in the
Okay.
carriage, I'm sure Madrigal would love to, you know.
Okay, well. But the carriage hasn't moved yet, right?
No, the carriage has not moved yet.
Okay, so I'm going to hop out. And I'll hop out and head to... I'll go to 15F right next to Gizik.
Okay.
And I am... Is this a devil by chance?
Very much so.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to pull out my devil blind. And I'm going to... yeah, I'll pull out my devil blind and I'll just make a big slashing attack with my devil blind.
Okay. And what is your devil blind? What is it?
So it's my it's a chakra, but I'm going to use it as a melee weapon if I can.
Yep, you can use it as a melee weapon.
And that's going to be a 19 against AC.
Okay, unfortunately, that is going to be a big solid miss.
Okay.
However, you could use one of your seership rolls if they're high enough.
Oh, I've already used one. I'm afraid I'm going to have to save some more for another. And then, okay, well, I'll take a minor action to Blades of Holy Fire. So, yeah, I'll do that. So I'll do Blades of Holy Fire. So anyone that's within 5 squares of me gets an extra 1d6 of radiant damage.
Okay. All right, swing with the chakra miss, Blades of Holy Fire, kaboom. Alrighty, very good. And that is Morokhan. All right, Morokhan, it's Madrigal's turn. And you get to direct her. The way we're going to handle Madrigal in order to save time is Madrigal can do either 10 points of cold damage, or she can do 10 points of psychic damage. Either she can do that damage to anybody you please, or you can have her knock someone prone or move them 6 squares. What would you like to have Madrigal do? Not that she's going to let you order her around for the entire marriage.
That's awesome. So I will have her... I'll have her knock that guy prone that I took a swing and a miss to.
Okay. So Madrigal steps out of the carriage and she says, delightful. And then she goes, ooh, and like goes into this, whole song. And then he gets really, really dizzy. And you grab him by the mask, that iron mask that's bolted to his head. And you throw him into the ground while she's got him mesmerized. And she claps and goes, hit him again, love, hit him again.
Thank you, dear.
And that is Mr. Moral Concern. Odelia, Sister Odelia, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Odelia is angry. And this anger has been building up over all these days. And she is beginning to channel all of the anger management issues that have plagued her family for generations. And it all comes with her frustration at still being trapped in this cage, even with her friends around her. It just comes bursting forth in a shout of rage. And she casts Great Shout.
Well, that seems like it's going to really hurt Anduriel, but I will certainly...
it's only against my enemies.
Oh, lovely. And what is the range on that bad boy, Odelia?
20, it's 5 squares, so 25 feet.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Are they too far away?
He's just about 8 squares away from you, unfortunately, but
I guess I have
you can also delay your action until the carriage comes in.
Can I just hold on to that anger then until, because nobody else is close enough, right?
Keep it bottled up. It's completely healthy.
Yeah, bottle it up.
It's been 4 days.
Okay.
It's been 4 days. What's another 10 minutes?
Push
All
it
right,
down.
so Odelia delays her turn until the carriage is here, and
Just still there shaking the bars. Let me out.
Okay, she's getting real grubby. Okay, we come to the end of the round. Oh wait, Sister Faudever has not taken her turn.
Oh, the coachman.
I forgot to roll her into initiative. Sorry. And where is she? And it's not very high. Okay. Okay. Since everybody else has, well, all right, she's gonna go up towards the one. Now she's gonna run. She's gonna go run to those two guys with the crossbows because it just seems like a good idea. So she will start and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, she ends up in square 7G. And she uses Divine Challenge on the one to the left of her. She goes, "Fight me, sinner! Don't you drop your cowardly crossbow!" Now, at the end of the round, Thora, your bonds go snap, 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 and you find yourself completely free. And you hear a faintly throaty feminine giggle next to you as you do this. And it's quite amusing. And there happens to be no one in the foundry right now. And you are muted, I think. Are you muted or?
Oh no!
There you are.
I didn't speak very loudly. That was my bad.
Okay.
He says, "Well," and he does not see this woman who has freed him.
Nope, you don't see anybody.
How tall is the anvil?
It's pretty tall, but you can get off and it will come up to your chest, so it's not like you're gonna have to leap off of it.
Yeah. In that case, he will climb down off of the anvil. He will bow to the space where the giggle was in thanks.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't have any of his equipment.
No, he does not.
But he's got a big, beefy new arm.
And leg. Yeah, and leg. Thora, you find that you're able to move in harmony, but it's a little bit difficult moving forward. You retain your same speed, but you are uncomfortable at best. You're kind of like, loping as you walk a bit.
Yeah. Is there anything in the room that I could use as like a makeshift staff or weapon that I could just carry with me in the event that I need it?
There absolutely is. Would you like to make a perception check to go up to the wall and see what's on there?
I'm good at those. 24.
Okay. Thora, you see all manner of accoutrements that are on that wall, including a very, very long and pronged rod that you recognize as being enchanted and resistant to fire. You think that it might make a really decent mace if you were to use it for such. I mean, that's not what it was designed for, but whack big stick is going to be pretty good.
Yeah. He will pick that up and let me see. I have the map here. He will begin heading toward that stairway, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Thora, you head towards the stairway in the foundry. Okay, back up to the top. Anduriel, my friend, it is your turn.
Did the driver ever take a turn?
The driver on your turn comes over and the carriage passes through Odelia's cage. Odelia, you're ready. Your delayed turn can go off now. You see this carriage just turn and the driver cracks the whip and the horses go through the forge and into the wall as the carriage kind of bisects your cage. And you're probably like, but it's ghostly and the door opens to admit you.
Oh, I am ready to leap in there, pull myself up
And
into that massive carriage.
Okay.
Drew has to shout from outside, "There's room for one more!"
Okay. Very nice. So Anduriel shouts, "There's room for one more!" And Odelia, as the carriage was approaching, you felt sick in your stomach until he shouted that out. And then it subsides and the door opens. And you look in and you see an unconscious Lavender and Aelin, like inside the carriage, just kind of like rolling around.
How tall is that carriage compared to me? Can I get in?
You absolutely can get in. You can use the carriage to cross through and out of your cage.
All right.
You can get in one side of the carriage and go out. So you start your movement, Odelia, in square 23D and tell me where you're going.
All right. Have 6 squares of movement. All right. Well, I'm just going to go as far as I can toward that Marocon, just charging forward.
Okay. All right, Odelia, you can, if you want, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'll go to 16E.
Okay.
You can. Oh no, I can't get that far.
You can get to 17E if you would like.
Yeah, that's.
And
cool.
Do you want to use your shout now, or do you want to wait?
Well, I think I'll wait until I can get more of them in range.
Okay. You could. Well, it's up to you. I mean, you can do whatever you would like to do from this point. You still have a standard action, so you could take another movement, and you have a minor.
I still have that much movement, that much action, huh?
You have a standard action, so you could use any one of your attack powers. Of course, there's a Morocon and a Gizik in the way, and they're enormous.
Can I just do double movement for my action and get up to like 11G?
If you want, you can take the run action, yeah, and you can get a lot farther. So you can go.
Yeah, that's what I'll do then.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I want to get
8,
right
1,
in
2,
between
3,
all these.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you can get on line 7 anywhere you want to be.
Okay, well, I'm going to stay on 10.
Okay.
10F.
All right, Odelia double moves 10F. You also have a minor action. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Nope, that's all.
Okay. Odelia double moves, and her turn now goes after Anduriel's. Erase here. All right, now, unfortunately, Anduriel, it is your turn, my friend. So with your minor action, you shout, "There's room for one more! There's room for one more!" And then Odelia gonna.
Okay, well then what's going to happen now is I'm going to use my armor. I'm going to use Shadow Leap, and I'm going to leap into the guy on, he's still 13 or 14G, right?
Yep.
I'm going to leap into his shadow.
Okay.
As a move action.
Where do you want to wind up?
Right next to him in 14F.
Okay. All right.
And then
Anduriel takes a step into the shadow cast by the cage in the torchlight, and he just drops into the shadow, and then he pops up out of this dude's shadow on the floor.
And then Anduriel's hungry, so it's time for a taste of life.
Morocon goes, "Bah!"
Okay. Okay. Anduriel, what is taste of life target, my friend?
Fortitude.
Okay, their fortitude is 24.
Oh, poop. Well, that's not going to get it done.
He's prone, by the way.
Except you forgot that you have the Ring of Phantasmal Approach.
So say this is a melee attack, right?
Yes, it is.
I can use this guy again.
Yes,
Sweet.
you can.
Let's try again.
Big money, big money.
That'll do it.
Say he's also prone.
So that's 27.
That's a hit. That'll hit all of his defenses. And he's prone. You have combat advantage.
Nice. Okay, so there's that. 5. So that's 15 points of damage. I'm also going to use Blood Drinker to get an extra 1d10. That's 8 additional. And then I get a healing surge.
Yes, you do.
Sweet.
Alrighty. So use your minor, your move, and your standard. All right.
Yep.
Anduriel, you leap out of the shadows and you descend on this devil and take a big old bite out of crime. And and he is not happy lying on the floor after Madrigal's spell and Moralcon's punch, and he is considering other career options, wondering if perhaps maybe he's made a poor choice. However, it would now be the Maragon's turn. They are going to, well, he's going to stand up because he doesn't want to be on the floor anymore. And what in the world is he going to do? He's going to use his whirling weapon attack with his halberd, which is a burst 1 attack. And he is going to go after you and Gizik and Moralcon. Oh
no.
Oh no, that doesn't hit actually.
Well, that's
That hits pretty hard.
that's it. And we'll back it up now. We'll see.
Well, my AC is 2,000, so I don't think that's going to hit.
That
Dragon skills, though.
That was a backup, wasn't it?
that unfortunately backed up with a 26.
Who is that targeting?
Well,
this
I
targeting?
actually I didn't
Everybody.
say. I didn't say. Yeah, but this is the first hit. I didn't say, so I'm gonna roll. Okay.
Okay.
1, it is Anduriel. 2, it is Gizik. 3, it is Moralcon, and 4, John has to pick. Okay, unfortunately, that is a 1, Anduriel, which means he backed up a 20 on you. I don't want to roll the 6. It's scary.
Roll it. Roll it.
That's only a 3. It's only a
Already
3.
died once.
We're safe. We're safe. It's only a 3. However, it is a backed up crit.
Okay.
Anduriel, you take 37 points of damage and you are knocked prone, my friend.
As an immediate interrupt, I'd like to use radiant armor.
All right. What does that do?
Does that work?
I don't know. You tell me. What are you reading?
Trigger. You are now like take damage. Damage is reduced to 0. Other effects still apply. ... You sparkle.
Oh, well, yeah, that was me. That was me tormenting you. All right, Anduriel uses his new 10th level utility power. So this Maragon, this iron masked individual, takes his axe and starts twirling it so fast that there's just no avoiding it, and the axe comes straight at Anduriel's neck, and then he all of a sudden just flares with light, and for a brief second he sparkles, and he floods the area with light, and the axe connects with Anduriel's light and it bounces right off, which is nice. However, that doesn't protect Gizik and Moralcon. Again.
It's a close burst 5, by the way.
I did it again. I'm
So
sorry.
this was Boracon?
This was
Oh,
Gizik.
actually, okay, yeah, never mind.
Oh, okay, it's a 4, Gizik. You didn't back it up. You're safe. Okay. That's
Holy
a hit.
crap, dude.
What's going on here? Okay, that's just a 16, so that's just a normal hit on both Moralcon and Gizik. Gosh, don't let maybe Ryan should be rolling the dice tonight. This is getting ugly.
So was this was against Gizik then?
And Moralcon, you both got hit. You take 31 points of damage. Wow, I rolled 2 10s.
Well,
10.
Actually, so what if I do the interrupt of water gives way?
You are more than welcome to do the interrupt of water gives way. What would you like to do?
Does that save Gizik from his damage as well? If I do? Because I move him 2 squares.
I will allow it.
Like shit. Okay. So yeah, interrupt. And that's good. That's good.
Oh.
Thank you, new dice, for redeeming yourself. That's a 28 against fortitude.
That is a hit, my friend.
Yes. Would he be charging by chance?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay.
He's not.
That's okay.
He's twirling. He's not charging. Sorry.
So here's the cool thing about this. Sadly, it's a daily, but this is 3d10 plus 7. So instead, he's Instead, he is going to take 34 damage.
Oh, you're his new special friend.
And he is only 2 squares away from that big furnace that we're right next to, correct?
That would be correct.
I'd like to throw him into it.
Oh,
Yay!
well, that's not very nice.
Very Hansel and Gretel of you.
Alrighty. Oh, Benjamin. Benjamin, if you would please roll 2d6.
That would be an 8.
So 13. 8. Oh, wow. It sucks to be him on so many levels. Okay, he just does not look like he can take too much more, but he is still moving. Maragons have some fire resistance, but they are not completely immune. So Morocon, he's twirling this blade around. It clangs against Anduriel's radiant armor shield, and then he swings it towards you, and you actually catch the weapon. And then what do you do?
Not today. And while he still has a grip on that axe, I pick him up while he's still holding it, and I throw him into the furnace.
All right, so he goes, and bam, he slams into the furnace. And that is the end of his turn. Wow, that sucked for him. Okay, Sister Fought of Air is in melee with these two fools, and they are going to go halberdation on here. They're both going to use double attack and just make 4 attacks on poor Sister Fought of Air. This really sucks.
Are they male?
They are male.
They may be touching her.
They might they only with their axes, which is somehow worse. All right, her AC is 23 and they have plus 13, so they need 10s to hit her. And hit. Ooh, wow, that's nice. That's a lovely little bond of misses right there. It's a lovely 6, a 7, a 5, and 1 11. So only 1 hit, which it could have been worse. Could have been much worse.
DM's character is suddenly all the honor.
I showed you the dice so you wouldn't be able to say that, Tommy. But you make a good point. His character is really doing great here. All right, so she is going to take 1d10.
Out of curiosity, because they're male, does she get an interrupt
No,
to like slap their hands away?
No, she does not actually have that power. All right, so they come at her. They're twirling, and they're really skilled fighters, as you just saw from what the one did at the 3 of you. So they come in with these vicious halberd combos, and she's got her greatsword drawn, and she's like, king, 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 and she pairs 3 of them, and then one of them stabs her in the stomach with the edge of the halberd, and she screams in fury. And that is their turn. And Thora, it is now your turn, my friend. Thora, you come up to the edge of the foundry, and you come to another one of these areas right here. And that is when you spot Mr. Fire Giant leaning over one of the cages.
I don't know.
You
what
can
to
take
do.
him. You can take him.
Okay.
Thora, you are
Whoa.
right. You are right at the edge of the map. The Fire Giant is leaning over the cage in square 23-4. And you actually see him look up because there is a ruckus happening in the next forge down.
Okay.
But that's where you are. He's only looked up. He's still in square 24F, like right in front of that cage.
24F. Okay. All right, let's go with diplomacy. Let's see what happens here.
Okay.
I really do have to admire your work. Though I do hear quite a ruckus. Is there a problem?
Okay, make
And-
it.
Like the most sincere someone could possibly be.
All right, make a diplomacy check, my friend.
Oh my god. 30?
Okay. So Thora, you said, I really do admire your work. And he says, oh, that's mighty nice of you. It's not every fire giant can make a cage like this, put in one piece and reforms it when he opens and closes. Hey, what are you doing out of your restraints?
Well, again, I was admiring your work and
Or the work on you's not even half finished. You only got your 2 arm and leg.
I didn't mean to. I was just I flexed a little bit to see what it could do and I broke right out of the bonds.
Oh, what a waste. Now I have to go down and fix that thing all over again. You see, my craftsmanship's just too good. I made your arm and your leg too strong, and now I have to go stick you back in there after I clean up this mess. I didn't order the halfling to fight again. I'm not even ready with the next weapon.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think I can escape. So, if you'd like, I could go check on what's going on the other floor, and I'll be right back.
Or
You can just take care of your anvil.
You go put yourself back in them. Go lie down back on the anvil. That's what you does, you.
Can he press his metal hand against the prison cell that he's examining?
You can operate it like a normal hand. It seems to be completely under your control.
You told me to experiment.
Oh, are you gonna use your big whammy on the cage?
He's not going to like attack the cage. He's going to try and channel the hellfire in the arm to open the cage up in a way that, like, as he's leaning against the cage, he falls in.
Okay. So you're going to attempt to use your 22 strength hellfire forged arm to rip open the cage so that you can fall in, or so that he falls in? I'm confused.
Essentially, you specifically told me to experiment. He can mold the cage. I'm thinking the heat from this arm may be able to mold it as well.
Okay, you concentrate on the heat to your arm, and your arm begins pulsing, and you start sweating from the heat that is coming off of this arm. You don't seem to have the power to reshape metal, but you feel like if you struck something with this right now, that there would be a nasty boom. Or as Odelia might call it, a boom.
A boom.
He swings his fist at the fire giant.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
The fire giant is down at the other end. You're going to have to get down there to him. Are you going to head towards him and attack then? Or
how far away am I?
You are all the way down at the other end. You are in 5F. He is in 24F. You just came into that chamber.
Oh, that was my bad. I misunderstood where I was.
However, as you contemplate coming nearer to the fire giant, your leg begins to pulse with hellfire.
Okay.
You look like Christmas, basically. I mean, you're just
and nothing else is in this room.
No, just the 4 cages and the forge.
Okay.
And the enormous fire giant.
In that, if he's on the other side of the room, I think Thor is just gonna head for the stairs to the other foundry area.
Okay. So are you going to use your leg to try to get you there faster, or are you just going to take the normal run action, or what are you going to do?
Sure, let's experiment.
Okay,
Is this a
Thora.
bionic jump with your one leg?
Thora,
Apparently.
you step down on the leg and you go to run, right? You just like
Yeah.
jump, run, and your leg explodes with hellfire, launching you 20 squares forward.
Okay.
You fly right past Mr. Fire Giant and into the entryway of the next forge area. You are now in the hallway, and you can see Sister Fought of Air and the two Maragons. You are in square 1J.
Okay.
And that, my friend, is your turn. So you take the bionic leap, and you go sailing through the air, and you land safely on that leg and don't even feel the impact. However, I am going to ask you, since it's the first time you've done it, to make an acrobatics or an athletics check to stay standing.
I'm bad at both of those.
Good. Then this will be fun.
Well, I rolled a 16, and I am not trained in athletics or acrobatics.
So half your level and your strength modifier or your dexterity, whichever is higher.
At a 22, what would that be? Is
That would be
plus
fine.
6?
So I just set the DC at 20. So you
Okay.
land with a crash into the square. Everyone, Thora comes crashing down into the hallway, which is admittedly quite large. It has to accommodate a tall fire giant, right? So he goes boom, and there is a sound of crunching stone, and you see Thora Gollum standing in the doorway.
And for the first time, he looks surprised.
And there's Sister Fought of Air and the two Maragons, and that would be Thora's turn. Lachlan, you hear a giggling sound, and you see a vaguely feminine shape in the fire. And Lachlan, you hear a voice say, "Well, I think it's just about time we got out of here, don't you?" And he says, and the voice says, "Your friends are making a ruckus below." Now, you could run out of the forge from the audience area and most likely run straight into an army of Maragons. If you run the other direction, you're going to run into your friends. But, whatever, you do you, whatever you like. And there is just one more sound of tinkling feminine laughter, and the flame on your cage drops down to nothing. And you realize that golden disc has been deactivated somehow. Standing, Lachlan, in front of you in the middle of the room are two Maragons who look at you, and the cage, they look at you, they see it drop, and they look around like where's Belle? Because he's the only one they've seen lock the cage. It's your turn, Lachlan. What you gonna do?
Is the chest with those rods still in there?
Oh yeah, it's right across the way from you in square 2V.
Okay.
The Maragons are standing to the left and the right of the pool in 16F and 16Q, respectively.
Okay.
Behind you, do you see the pathway behind you?
Uh-huh.
That leads to the forges.
So which
rather, I mean,
space,
not that your character would know that. It leads deeper into the forge.
where am I?
You are in square 5F. You are standing on top of the disc.
That disc. Okay.
With all of your equipment.
Okay.
You
Well,
can head
I am going
deeper into the forge. You can run for it, or you can just charge the Maragons. How lucky do you feel?
All right. If I take the run action, then twice, I should be able to get to the rods, right?
Yeah. If you take the run action twice, you'll get to the chest.
Okay, that's what I want to do. I want to take the run action twice, get to the chest,
Oh my gosh.
and then
Okay.
minor
Okay.
action, open that thing and start shoving those in.
All right, Lachlan, I'm going to need you to make an endurance check because you've been standing for days. You're going to need, if you want to take the run action, my friend, you're going to take you're going to need a 25. More than likely, I'm afraid you're going to take the fall down action and have cramps. You're going to take the cramp action.
I have a plus 11. That's a 22. So I will use Adept's Insight to try and get that. I rolled a 3, so 3 plus 1 is 4. So with Adept's Insight, I use pure mental will to.
Okay, so Lachlan,
jelly legs running, but
you start running, and you're like, but you manage to use a little bit of psychic energy, and psychic energy encases your leg, and it's kind of like running in a cast, but you're running, and you get to the chest. With your minor action, I will let you pull one item out of the chest. Now, you open it up, and you see a number of interesting objects in there. Firstly, you see all of your companions' holy symbols. You also see a beautiful, beautiful Hellfire Lance in there, and you see a bunch of those rods.
okay. But I have a bag of holding. So if I use an action point, can I use a standard action and just yoink and dump them into the bag of holding?
You want to put the whole chest into the bag of holding?
At least the contents of the chest.
If you want to use your action point, I'll let you wrap the chest in your bag of holding. And
sir.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
So he just stretches this sucker out, wraps it up, and he looks like he's watching the Maragons the whole time. Like
this
is inevitable, but
expressionless because of their faces, so you really can't read them. But you're looking at them, and you're like, and they're just kind of standing there, like, what is happening? But they haven't moved yet. They think
big question mark pops up above their heads.
They're not sure if this isn't part of the show. Is this part of the show? Like, is this part in the script? Like, and that would be Mr. Lachlan's turn. Okay, it is Sister Faudaver's turn. She has taken a little bit of damage from these fools. And let's see. I think Sister Faudaver is going to use Shout of Condemnation, which is probably her special move at this point. So she is positioned right to blast both of them. And so Sister Faudaver glows with a holy light, and she looks at both of them, and she says, "You two went to hell, so there's nowhere else to send you. You're horrible people. You're awful, and you're both gonna die, and there's no place for you to go, and I don't like you." And while this would normally not really be very impactful on anyone, her voice is booming like thunder, and it's like a sonic boom goes off with every word she says. She's also let everybody in the complex know for like several miles, hey, there's a fight going on up here. Let's see if she hits. It targets Will, and Will is not their greatest power. So that's 22. I need an 8. That's a 13 hit. And that's a 16 hit. So she hit both of them. They are going to take 7 plus 6. They will take 13 points of thunder damage, and ongoing thunder 5 and divine sanction save ends. They do not like that. Okay. So she yells at them, and thunder crackles around them, and the thunder continues to crackle around. She just keeps shouting at them, naughty, 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 to probably touch people and all other kinds of sins. And So she just keeps railing at them for her turn. And she's going to use Lay on Hands to heal herself back up to full. Because it seems like a good idea. And that is Sister Fodder. Gizik, my friend, it is your turn.
All right. Seems like it's been a really long time.
It really has.
Yeah, there's a lot of us tonight.
I'm going to move up to... I can't really move up to Sister Fodder, can I? She's a little too far away.
She is a bit far away. You've also got a Maragon on top of you and a Moralcon to the left of you.
Oh, I thought he got thrown
No.
away.
Oh, no,
I threw
excuse
him into
me.
the
Yeah.
furnace.
Yeah, he's sitting in the furnace. My bad. I didn't move him on the map. Tell me where you want to get to, Gizik. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I was thinking H7, but that's a little far away, so I might try something else.
You'd have to double move.
But let's see. So that guy who's in H6, he's not too far away from me to try to bewitch him.
No, he's not.
So let's give that a 19 versus will.
That unfortunately is not going to be successful. His will is 22.
All right, then let's try and put him to sleep. I'll start, swinging my watch back and forth.
Alrighty.
Tell him to sleep. Or however I do this. Okay, so this is 21 versus will.
That is still, unfortunately, 1 away from what you need to hit. So the question becomes...
Well, I can at least do half damage.
Well, don't you have...
Wait, you said it's 1 away?
You are 1 away. Don't you have Sigrun's Blessing that you can use for your witch
I
thing?
have that. I will use that.
Okay, so you have hit him. What do you do?
Okay, so this will be 18 psychic damage, and he's slowed. Save ends.
Oh, he loves
And
you.
if he doesn't save, it gets worse.
Okay, 18 psychic damage. All right, so you're trying to put him to sleep while Sister Fodder continues railing at him and screaming at him about his sins.
We can do both.
Yeah, we can do both. So he's falling asleep, and she's like, "Don't you fall asleep when I'm screaming thunder damage at you!" And that's where that goes. And now it is Moralcon and Madrigal's turn. Moralcon, you threw him into the fire. He does not look like he is going to survive, even with his fire resistance. It does not look like he is going to survive this. So there's not much you got to worry about him.
Cool. I can handle that. So, and then I see I see Thora on the far end of the room, right?
You do see Thora on the far end of the room. And he does not look right.
Right.
May I just say,
What?
he looks like Frankenthora, and he's only wearing his underwear.
What happened to all you guys? You're all just messed up. I mean, he's a vampire. You're gone. Odelia's, well, angrier than usual, I guess. He takes his minor action to express confusion.
Okay.
So he will, and then he will move forward just right next to Odelia into G10.
Okay.
And he's going to throw the Devil Blind at the... can I tell which one of these goons is more damaged? Or...
Yeah, the one Gizik just hit one of them with a spell, and he's drowsy and bleeding out of his nose and suffering thunder damage from Sister Fodder screaming at them continually.
That one on the right or on the left of?
That's the one on the left.
Okay. So I'm going to throw my chakram at that one on the left.
Okay.
The whole time, just in utter confusion.
Okay,
his
AC is 26, my friend.
Holy cow! Okay, and that's good roll. Okay, so I rolled a 19, so that's a plus 15 to attack. So I got him. And that is going to be that's a 12 against. It'll be 12 damage against him. Plus, he is blind.
Ooh. All right. So Moralcon, you huck.
Why my weapon is called the Double Blind.
Moralcon, you huck your chakram, and it fairly leaps out of your hand, like it's like hungry for this bad boy, and it flies towards him, and it hits him right in his masked face. And there is a clanging sound and a bright flash of light. And the Maragon lets go of his halberd with one hand, and he's covering his masked face like this, and tottering around now that he can't see. So now he's he's falling asleep, he's blind, and he's taking ongoing thunder damage. I think he wishes that he had maybe been a demon instead of a devil at this point. That is a sword. Now, what would you like to have Madrigal do? She can move someone, or she can do 10 points of cold or lightning damage, or she can knock someone prone.
I would actually really love it if she would throw some cold damage at that same guy.
Okay. So she will drop 10 more points of cold damage on him. Oh, his life sucks. Okay. So he has taken quite a bit. He is definitely bloodied at this point. Alrighty. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom. And that is Morcon. Back up to the top. Anduriel, my friend. Anduriel, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
I would like to attack. Well, I think I can get there now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The one that's just gotten rocked and rolled here.
Okay.
I'd like to add my 2 cents.
Alrighty.
I don't have my weapons, do I? I think I gave them to my mom before I died. I don't know.
You have all of
Did
your
she give them
equipment.
back? Okay. Well, lovely. I think I shall try to hit this fool with... No, not him. Sorry. The other one with Searing Shadow. It's a ranged attack.
Okay. His reflex is what you're targeting?
Yep, target's reflex.
That's his lowest defense with a 20.
Oh, well, good golly. That is a 13 on the dice. So add my... That's 26.
That is a hit.
Huzzah!
You're going to hit the one that's already blinded and blind him with your spell. Like,
Blind him some more.
You'll never see again!
Abandon hope, all you who stand in that square.
Okay.
Stand.
Gosh.
That is, let's see. Is that a weapon attack or is that a...
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to add 15. So 20 points of damage, 5 of which is necrotic, and then the target is blinded.
Oh my gosh.
Save ends.
Okay.
Searing Shadow.
Why did this guy even get up? Like, what was his point? All right, that's Ender. Odelia, it is your turn, Sister
I'd
Odelia.
like to actually use my minor to order the carriage rider to come away from there and kind of get closer to the group.
Okay.
back to his original starting position near the forge.
Okay,
Maybe 17.
tell me specifically what you order him to do with your minor action. You only have words. You can't think your intention at him, so what do you tell him to do?
Right. Driver, prepare to receive us once again. Come over here. And he points to 17H.
Okay. So the Dullahan moves back up, and he is right in 17, 18, and 19 H, I, and J. And he moves the carriage back up right across from Gizik.
'cause it might be time to leave very soon.
Okay, and that is Mr. Anduriel, or Mr. Anduriel. Odelia, it is your turn.
All right, Odelia has just been standing here with this rage brewing, and she just shouts in this great shout of rage that emanates out from her. So I should be able to get.
Yep, you got both of them. Go ahead and make your attacks. What does it target?
I'm not sure. It just
Says
says,
right at
Target
the
everything.
It says right at the top of the power. It should.
Oh, target AC.
All right, their AC is 26, unfortunately, but you get to add your barbarian attack roll to this, so which is higher, I think.
That's not. So, how do I know what that is? Sorry.
Let me open up your character sheet. I think it's right under your.
Oh,
Yeah.
They're both plus 12.
Oh, they're the same. Plus 12. I lied.
Come on, baby. Come on, new dice.
Big money. Big money. You get to it.
Two.
You get 2 attacks. You get to attack the other one too.
Neither one of them hit.
Well, actually, this is a daily, and so let's look at it and make sure that it see what it does. Boom, boom, boom. Now, unfortunately, Great Shout does not seem to. I'm just going to double check for you because I may have made a boo-boo. It's not likely, but we can check. Great Shout. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh no, this is yeah, no, that's an encounter power. That's not gonna do it, unfortunately, Odelia.
It's not a daily, it's an encounter power.
Yeah, it's an encounter power. Unfortunately, you have 2 dailies. You've got Mama Bear Rage and Crucial Resurgence. Or you know what? Did I just look up the wrong power?
Great Shout is what I was doing, but Great Shout is listed as a daily on my character sheet.
Yeah, I may have made a boo-boo in regards to that. You know, I may have called this something else. Let's just type in shout and daily and barbarian. No, unfortunately, it doesn't do anything additional. I'm sorry. I wanted you to hit really bad because it would have been really cool if we were both shouting at them. So it is a really fun visual, however. So Sister Fadaver is screaming at them, and Duriel's blasting them. Oralcon throws his chakram, and Odelia, you run up and scream at them too, like ah! Just. Odelia lets out a bunch of rage. Sister Fadaver's.
I'm not even screaming at them. I am just standing in the middle of where I was able to run to, just screaming with anger. That's probably why I didn't hit, is because she wasn't really.
Right. So you flip up the back of Sister Fadaver's robe with your scream, and it goes, and she goes, oh, and pushes it down really quickly. It's not quite a Marilyn Monroe moment, but it's a little disturbing to her to feel that voice coming from behind her. And
Morricon is standing right next to her, so he's like, ah!
So that's probably really loud. And that is when something else happens that is really disturbing, in case you thought that was enough. And what happens is, from behind Thora comes charging an enormous fire giant, going thud, 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 and comes up right behind Thora. And he has a sword of molten lava drawn, and he has an enraged look on his face. And Thora, guess who he sees very first? So he comes charging over Thora, and we will pick back up on his turn, unfortunately, when we resume. And that is where we will go from here, ladies and gentlemen. So quite the experience. Thank you, those of you who were patient, Ryan and Odelia, while we waited to get to you. I appreciate that. John, thank you for your patience while we waited to get to you. Appreciate it. Quite a lot going on, and our final episode for this season coming up next week. So hopefully everyone will survive this fire giant. It would not be a terrible idea to get back into the carriage at this point. But you're gonna have to get to the carriage first, and you're down. Your bard still hasn't shown up yet. So,
It just parked next to me though, right?
lots going. Yeah, Gizik, you actually have
Jump in, buddy.
you have the getaway. You have the getaway position, Gizik. Madrigal, of course, is having the time of her life. This is the best honeymoon ever. So, we like to end on a little positive thought, and
Love
that,
you, sweetie.
that will go from Ryan, who has our consider this for the night, and he's muted, which is symbolic, perhaps. Not sure what that means, but
Yes, I do have it. For our consider this, I don't know how many people saw this little story about a race that involved a Abel Mutai, who was representing Kenya, and Ivan Fernandez, who was representing Spain. And Mutai was just a few feet from the finish line, but he was confused with the signage, and he stopped thinking that he had completed and won the race. And Fernandez was right behind him, but realized what was happening. So he started shouting at the Kenyan for him to continue running, but Mutai didn't know Spanish, didn't know what he was doing. So Fernandez actually pushed Mutai in front of him to victory. And a journalist asked Fernandez, "Why did you do that?" And he said, "Well, my dream is that someday we can have that kind of community." And he said, but you let the Kenyan win. And he said, "I didn't let him win. He was going to win." The journalist, "But you could have won." And Fernandez kind of looked at him like he was an idiot. He said, "Well, but but what would the merit of my victory be? And what would be the honor of that medal? What would my mom think of that?" And I loved what he said and what he did, because I think that sometimes I think competition is wonderful. We get some of our best ideas and great opportunities from competition. But I know that feeling. In fact, Matt and I were talking about, like, on a smaller sense, just cheat codes on video games. What an unsatisfying moment it is to win when you've used a cheat code, and that it diminishes something when you there's no satisfaction. And I share that because I've thought a lot of people are advocating for different things or different people, and it's campaign season and all these things, and some of that competition and trying to win things can be very positive and productive, but not if it ends up being hollow or destructive of what Ivan Fernandez called that community spirit. And my consider this is just to think that there's nothing wrong with healthy competition. In fact, I think that's how we get great. But there's no glory and no honor in winning something on the backs of somebody else, or by exploiting another's weakness or mistake. And that in my opinion, both of those men were winners, but because of how they behaved and posed themselves in that situation. So consider that.
that is a wonderful thought. Anybody have anything they'd like to add to that? I mean, I don't even let JT play video games on the easy mode anymore. And now when I'm not there and he plays the video game without me, now he doesn't enjoy the easy mode. He has to play the hard one. I did that to him, and I'm proud of that. But I love that idea. I was actually talking about this with somebody today as well. And what I said was, I think that it's wonderful. We actually, in our world right now, there is less poverty in our world right now than there has been throughout the history of our world. If you look at the measurements of poverty all across the world, people are living better all over the world. But I think that living well doesn't mean nearly as much if you're not reaching out to people who aren't, and doing your best to bring everybody up around you. I think it's a beautiful thought, and thank you for sharing it. Anyone else?
I think it has a lot to do with having an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset, believing that there is enough and to spare to go around, and that you don't have to hoard and protect whatever little bits of something that you have, but believing that if you are willing to put your best out into the world, that will return to you.
I love it. It's a beautiful thought. Okay.
When one of us succeeds, we all succeed. So
And if you're a Utah, wear your darn masks so we don't have to shut down the whole state again.
Oh,
Jeez.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
News
if
isn't
you're an
looking good
Ohioan.
today.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
if you're an
I want my
Ohioan.
kids to go back to school so much.
Yes.
I know.
Good grief.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, anybody who watches this, please wear your mask. We're possibly heading into orange again, and which means we're all like,
I can't go back.
It's
consider that.
yes.
Save the children.
Save the pigment.
Yeah.
Well,
Please
John,
take care of each other.
Oh.
Good night, everybody. Put on a mask.
Peace out.
okay, bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.